I actually think it was my D partner that got his stick and accidentally smoked me in my mouth, chipped my front 4 teeth, and cut my lip and cut my gums. I'm saying it was a full-on yard sale, and left the game. All my 4 teeth are all mangled, and my whole career I kept asking, like, okay, what do I do? Like, do I crown these things or veneer? Or they're like, no, like that's expensive, and they'll continue to get knocked out. So let's just cap them. Let's just keep them capped for the until you're retired.
On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. One-of-a-kind opinions, big-name guests, the teams you care about every day. It's the Ron Johnson Show, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Ron Johnson Show, and I am your host, Ron Johnson. I'm live on remote. Yeah, I don't have the cool, purple background like my producer Sam's going to have, but hey, that's what you got to do when you're traveling. But today, we're going to have Nate Prosser on. Yes, the Wild season's over, but it's always good to hear from former players on what's next. We just heard Bill Guerin talk. What is Kevin Fiala going to do? Is he going to keep him? Is he going to get rid of him? Do they want to re-sign him? Does he want to come back? There's so much to this, but we're going to get Nate Prosser's take on what's next for the Minnesota Wild and who does he think can win the playoffs and go to the final and win it all. Of course, we saw the St. Louis Blues. They did pretty well against the Avalanche. So I know for Wild fans, you're probably a little bit pissed off. Like, you know what? That could be us. We could be on our way to the Stanley Cup final. We're going to talk NIL though. And as I bring my producer, Sam Ekstrom, and Sam later, we're going to talk Daily 3. We know that. 3 questions, 3 minutes. But NIL. I just don't know where to start with this, Sam. So the NIL, name, image, likeness. Your name, your image, your likeness. To me, that seemed like a simple change that needed to be made. You think about NCAA football on PlayStation and Xbox. People were playing that all the time. They were claiming it wasn't us. But if you go back to 1999, 2000, 2001, and you play with Minnesota, that number 3, 6'2", 210 pounds from Detroit, Michigan. He wears number 3. I don't know who that is.
Who could it be?
Like me. So if you're going to use my number, my height, my weight, where I'm from, but you just don't want to use my name. You want to use my image and my likeness, but not my name. So that way you don't have to pay me. That sounds like infringement. That sounds like copyright. That sounds like we should be in court right now dealing with lawyers saying, hey, look, that's me. You got to pay me for that. And that's why so many players got paid, but only through a certain time. I'm kind of pissed off. I missed the window of getting that check for being on the game because, hey, the old guys, we didn't really do it that well. But as it got better and better, the faces got better, the graphics got better. I mean, they really were just stealing the images of these college players. And now it's legal. You can legally pay players, Sam. And good old Nick Saban, I got the number 1 recruiting class every year for the last whatever years. I got the number 1 player in the recruiting class for the last couple of years. I put X amount of players in the NFL. Well, now the scales of justice have been balanced. And I'm a Moon Knight fan. I don't know if you've seen Moon Knight yet, Sam, or if you even care about Marvel stuff. But Moon Knight, there's this thing called the balance of the scales, and it's really fake the way they do it. But they basically grab, if you have a twin or you have your alter ego, they grab both hearts. It's fake. They put them on a scale, and you got to somehow balance the scales by going back into your past, trying to figure out why your scales are unbalanced. Well, now we've gone back into the past and we figured it out. The unbalance came from value. You look at what Nick Saban makes compared to what Deion Sanders makes. You look at Nick Saban's budget compared to Deion Sanders' budget. It's hard to compete and get those top kids. Yes, it's Deion Sanders. I want to learn from the best. I mean, this kid, number 1 recruit in the country, goes to Jackson State, a historically black college. Unheard of. You see it now in basketball. You got kids doing that in basketball as well. Why? Because I don't need Alabama. I don't need Clemson. This kid is the best player in the country. If Shaquille O'Neal were to go to Alabama A&M, they're going to follow him. It's not about LSU and Shaq. It's about Shaq. And if Michael Jordan had gone to North Carolina A&T instead of going to North Carolina, they're going to follow Jordan. They're going to follow the money. It just wasn't out back then. But they were going to find that kid. And so, Sam, now Nick Saban says that Texas A&M has cheated. No, sorry, not cheated, bought their entire recruiting class. Now, it's not them, it's their boosters. They've done a great job creating NILs. And I think that's the problem for me, Sam, is that Alabama has taken over for a while. And now you're starting to see these scales balance. And then you just see the receiver out of Pitt, the kid we were talking about. He just went to USC. So Lincoln Riley has been doing the same thing. Nobody just notices Lincoln Riley because USC, nobody's worried about USC just yet. But Lincoln Riley's been slowly adding, as Kevin Garnett would say, he's been adding Uzis, pumps, loading up clips. He's just over there secretly loading up his guns, getting ready for this college football season and seasons to come. And that's why they bought Lincoln Riley in. They were like, look, this guy can recruit. He's done a great job of where he's been. Let's see if he can turn this around at USC, because we have the stuff in LA. I mean, it's Snoop Dogg. It's LA. We're worried about Texas A&M and this oil money. We forgot about just LA. But Sam, what are your thoughts on that with Nick Saban?
So yesterday was highly entertaining because Saban calls out A&M, which is Jimbo Fisher.
Yep.
Jimbo Fisher, I believe, calls his own press conference.
He does.
And lights Nick Saban on fire. He calls him despicable multiple times. He says he thinks he's God. He throws him under the bus and says his former assistants don't like him, and basically implies that Alabama's been the one cheating all this time.
Yes.
And is this college football now? Is this where the SEC schools just have a battle of petty? Who can be pettier in trying to take down the other schools and prop themselves up? We kind of have invited this, though, right? This kind of is the NIL environment where to some extent, it is about buying talent a little bit. You try to, you promote your program, you promote the education, but for these stars, it is going to come down to, I think, that NIL deal. So I guess I don't know what Saban was. Was Saban implying that they were cheating or just that they had really good NIL deals? I'm not sure what the accusation is, if it's legal. Like, maybe you can tell me, Ron.
Yeah. So what Saban's problem is, and he's brought this up before because he continues to say this. He's like, where's the salary cap for these players? Like, are we just going to let the best player, like if a new Allen Iverson comes out of high school, which is coming. Imagine LeBron James right now in high school heading to college, because he couldn't go to the NBA. He would have to go to college for one season. I mean, look at Chet Holmgren. He's not even close to him. Paige Beckers, she's good, but she's not LeBron James, and she's heading towards $1 million. LeBron would have probably had 10 million already in college. Like, he probably would have stayed in college for the simple fact of, it's like, wait, I have no responsibilities. I have no bills. The school's paying for my apartment. I got a nice crib in college. I can get an education and I can make 10 mil a year in college. But no, we know LeBron would have wanted 30, 40 million. But, just saying, like, think about that. 1 year, LeBron, Carmelo, some of these guys that we knew were one and dones. And LeBron couldn't be a one and done, but LeBron would have had to be a one and done. Oh, he would have broke the bank. And that's what Nick Saban is saying is, what's the cap? And so, no, he's not saying that they cheated. He just admitted that, like, look, this is the new age. And honestly, this is the thing. This is smart on Nick Saban's part. One, he gets the attention off of himself, because for years people were saying he was cheating anyway. That's why I think Jimbo Fisher is really like, really? Like, really? What you did? And now okay. And so you see that. You see Deion Sanders, him and Nick Saban are in Aflac commercials. That's going to be really awkward on set next time they shoot an Aflac commercial. I mean, literally, Aflac might have to say, hey, let's hurry up and shoot a commercial to get this hotness out on the streets, because if you put Saban and Sanders in a commercial, Deion's bringing the looks. Like, he's going to drop the jokes. He's going to bring the looks. I hope SNL does an Aflac thing where, like, they have the duck out there and the duck even looks like, wait, what? Like, I don't want to be in this commercial. Like, it's
the duck
some
runs
of the
away.
Oh, the duck. It's some of the best stuff's going to be. I mean, I think I'm pretty sure SNL would do it, but who knows? They might not. That might be a conflict.
Season finale on Saturday. They better hurry.
Well, hey, and it came right at the right time. I'm hoping they have a Nick Saban joke. I mean, come on now, you got to do that, but you never know. But when you think about what Saban's saying, his big issue is this. Players now, it's about the boosters, and it's about recruiting with boosters. And that technically was illegal, but it's not. So what Saban's doing is smart. He put his boosters on notice. He's like, look, I'm fighting for my life to recruit for y'all. Y'all got to come help me. Now, if I were Saban, I'd be, look, take $2 million from me. I'm going to get a lesser salary. You guys go use that to get some players for me. Nick Nolte style blue chips. That's why I tweeted that. Loved it. But there's a thing too about NIL, and having Ron Dane on got me thinking about that. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa. We haven't seen any Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa NIL blowups yet. We haven't seen any big time deals just yet. And so my early voice out to the fans, to the listeners, to the Gopher fans, to the Minnesota sports fans. If you know some people out there with some big time money and they are in the Minnesota area, they need to create a conglomerate and start working on getting these high school kids like signed deals. Hey, when you come to Minnesota, we're going to have a General Mills cereal commercial ready to go for you. We're going to, you're going to be sponsored by whatever, Fruit Loops, Frosted Flakes. I don't know what they make over there. But I mean, Land O'Lakes, you're going to have your own butter. You're going to be sponsored. We just need you to say, hey, my hands aren't slippery unless I put butter on my biscuit. I mean, it's got to be something for these high school players, knowing that when I get to Minnesota, Target, have a quarterback throwing it at the Target sign. I never miss, especially when I shop at Target. I mean, come on. There's too much out there for these high school players that we really want to come play for Minnesota that we can't find a way to get them 10, 20, 30 grand a month, for their first year. 10 grand a month, I think would do it. 100 grand in the first year. 120 grand. High school kid. Who's going to say no to that? I mean, I just did a commercial and I know what they pay. So that's what I think's got to happen. Minnesota's got to, it's an arms race now of NIL. Minnesota's got to get out in front of all these schools like Wisconsin and Iowa, because that's who they're competing against. Of course, we got Michigan, Ohio State. That's going to be a different brand. But you gotta out recruit your little group here of Wisconsin and Iowa, because that's who you see Minnesota fighting for with these offensive linemen and some of these linebackers in these areas. It's depending on what you can get. Jackson Howard, kid in Minnesota now. I don't see why. If you really want him, he's the number one recruit in Minnesota. Find a company that's willing to sponsor him if he signs with Minnesota. That's got to be the way to go. That's how you defeat the Wisconsins, the Iowas, and they're not even up for Jackson Howard. It's against Michigan, Miami, Minnesota, and LSU. Those are the four. So you got to compete with LSU, because LSU is in the SEC, and they got to compete with Alabama. So Gopher fans, get your NILs together, because we got to get some of these kids to stay home, and we got to get some of these kids to come across to this cold weather. Everybody doesn't want to do it like I did. I'm from Detroit. I loved it, Minnesota. Tony Dungy was here. Connection. If we can't find a connection, got to get them some money. That's the NIL. Well, up next on the Ron Johnson Show, we got Nate Prosser, former just big bruiser. I heard he could shoot the puck at close to 100 miles an hour. We'll have to find that out. But stay tuned, and then we got the Daily 3 after that. We'll be back. Up next on the Ron Johnson Show, we got hockey legend Nate Prosser, former Minnesota Wild, Elk River product out of Minnesota. I mean, it's a state of hockey, of course. But Nate, as I jump into this, man, I got caught last night watching the Avalanche Blues game. When you see how close that game is, as a Minnesota Wild fan, former player, how much does that hurt a little bit, knowing that, man, you know what, the Avalanche are good, but the Wild could have skated right with them the way they dominated the Blues in some of those games?
Yeah. Wild had a good skating team. There was a team that, I don't know what our record was during the regular season versus the Avs, but it looks like, they're a team that, not overly physical or overly mean. So it's a team that we would have skated with and probably would have competed with pretty well. But, I love this series right now with the Blues and the Avs. I think it's just kind of, the classic, experience versus speed.
Yeah, and 4-1. I mean,
Yeah.
it was 2-0 when I was in the bar.
Yeah.
And then I saw the Avs score. I didn't see who it was. Because
Landeskog,
we were having some fun. It was a bachelor party. My brother-in-law he's going to be my brother-in-law when he gets married tomorrow. And so we weren't really,
congrats.
yeah. So I'm down here for a wedding. So we weren't really watching it close.
Where's the wedding?
We're in Cincinnati. And so we were at I don't know the name of it, but we were at a local bar right by our hotel. My father-in-law, my soon-to-be brother-in-law, a weird one. My ex-brother-in-law, I guess you'll call it. He used to be married to my wife's older sister, divorced, but he's still a part of the family, so he's here.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were all at the bar watching. It was like 5 TVs, so they had the Heat, Celtics on. They had the Avs, and as I'm watching, I'm like, man, like, okay, here come the Avs. This is the Avs everybody's talking about because they scored 2-1, and I'm like, and I've heard the goals can come in bunches.
Yeah.
And then they went bunches the other way. The Blues. The Blues, held them off. And so when I see that, I'm like, man, the way the Wild handled them. And I know the Husso versus Bennington, that's always going to be the conversation.
Yeah.
And the Wild are more physical. I think the Blues and the Wild are both 2 physical teams. And I think the Avs got out. I mean, I was watching the hits. Like, it's crazy, like, how I've started to watch this stuff now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you see the hits by the Blues, and again, going back to the Wild, and Kevin Fiala, for instance, what do the Wild need to do? One, do you think Guerin's going to bring Fiala back? Does Fiala want to come back? And then what do the Wild need to do to get over that hump and end up against a team like the Avs where they probably could just outmuscle them?
Yeah, I mean, to answer the first question, I think you try to bring them back. I mean, it's hard to replace a 30-goal scorer. I mean, that they don't just like fall off trees, like it's something where, I'm sure Guerin's trying to do whatever he can to have him back. But he kind of disappeared in playoffs, not to, be too mean about it. But there wasn't a ton of secondary scoring. I mean, other than 97, who on the Blues is like, okay, like we got to watch out for this guy. This is their secondary scoring line. This is the line that, kind of could take over the game when we shut down their top line. There really wasn't one. I was kind of looking at Eck and Foligno and Greenway's line to do that, but they didn't put the puck in the net that much in that series. So I think the Wild with any team, it doesn't matter what spot you get in to the playoffs. Like, it doesn't matter if you're the second wild card or the number 1 seed. It's all about just getting in and then hitting your stride at the right time. And it almost seems like the Wild, they were hitting their stride, and then I don't know, the special teams kind of faded away. The goaltending situation got a little sticky. And then, like I said, the secondary scoring just kind of was lost. So, you put that all together, and then you play against a team like the Blues that, all those guys have, hoisted that Stanley Cup over their head, or most of them, and they all have that experience. They're all just like, okay, regular season's over. We were the, what were they, the first wild card? Oh no, they're the third seed of the division. So it's like, they didn't care. Okay, we're in the playoffs. It's a whole new season. We're all 0-0. We all have 0 points. Let's start fresh and let's get after these guys.
Yeah, they didn't let the home ice thing bother them. Everybody thought the Wild had the advantage with the home ice. The Blues still don't have home ice advantage, and they're finding ways to steal games. Yeah. And so, now the pressure is on the Avs, which I don't think they've had to deal with all season. Like, now this is the pressure. If you go down 2-0, that's almost like a death sentence in any sport. So Nate, let's have a fun one. So as we were coming on, you were talking about hockey and teeth, and I've seen the Mark Parrish, losing a tooth, running off set, having to go pop his tooth back in. Yeah. How did your teeth get knocked out? You said it was a stick, but what happened?
Yeah, it was back my first year of pro hockey. I played down in Houston for the Arrows. It was the Minnesota Wild affiliate team at the time. It was awesome. That was my favorite year of hockey. I think just being down in that weather for a year. It was just me and my wife, no kids. It was kind of like it was like college and we all, had a little bit of money. So it was, we would get out of the rink in shorts and flip-flops, and we'd go to Whole Foods and get grill food. And we all lived at the same complex. So we all just kind of sat by the pool and grilled out and, sat in the sun. And every day, it was literally every day we were lobsters out there. And, where was I going? What was the question again?
The teeth. You got your teeth.
Oh,
back
yeah,
out.
teeth. So puck was dumped into my corner. And I just remember going back, and there's like 2 forwards on me and my D partner coming in, and we were all going to fish for the puck. And, as you go for a puck, your opponent tries lifting your stick. So they try getting under your stick and lifting it before you can make a play on the puck. So I actually think it was my D partner that got his stick and accidentally smoked me in my mouth, chipped my front 4 teeth, and, cut my lip and cut my gums. I'm saying it was a full-on yard sale, and left the game. All my 4 teeth are all mangled, and my whole career I kept asking, like, okay, what do I do? Like, do I crown these things or veneer? Or they're like, no, like that's expensive, and they'll continue to get knocked out. So let's just cap them. Let's just keep them capped for the until you're retired. So just this last couple months ago, I reached out to the dental office and was like, hey, I think it's time to, make these things look a little better. So I don't know. Hopefully they look all right. And
they look perfect.
Yeah, sweet. So, yeah.
That's the funniest thing ever, though, for people to
I'll
say, like, don't fix your teeth because you're gonna get them knocked out again.
I know. You're gonna get a puck again or get another stick, or because like your half shield goes to here, and there's so many sticks and pucks and block shots and standing by the goalie. And I mean, I don't know how many pucks I had whizzed by my face throughout my career. It was crazy. And then just accidental high sticks, they hit my visor, and it's like literally millimeters from knocking all my teeth out again. So I mean
so why don't players do that? Why don't you guys get the full shield?
You know what? I don't even know when that started, but at college we wear the full shield, and then once you get into pro hockey, it goes to the half. And I like the half shield a little bit better. I mean, you can always replace teeth, you can fix your nose and all that. Yeah, the only thing they always told you, just don't mess with your eyes, and that was what the half shield was good for. So, but no, I like
not wear the half shield.
If you're older, all the older guys, so like Ryan O'Reilly, he's grandfathered in, Milan Lucic. I'm trying to think. There's not a ton more, but so I think a lot of guys are realizing like the half shield is beneficial.
That's crazy. It's fast. So what's the fastest puck? Because I put out me and Brandon Molesky. He was on the show, and he's a big hockey guy. He's a wild guy with Kevin Foulness. And so I asked him, I gave him a like an ultimatum. I said, here's your choices. If you had to sit in a room with the common man for 24 hours, because we've seen the power trip bets and stuff they do where they make people do stuff for 24 hours. I was like, you either have to sit in a room, no headphones, no technology, 24 hours, and just let common man talk to you. And you can't talk back. He just gets to talk to you for 24 hours. Or let Nate Prosser stand at the blue line, not the first one because that's a little close, the second blue line, and just whiz 5 shots at you. And he was like, man, I think he hit one like 110 miles an hour off the wall. Like that was what he was known for. Like, what's the fastest you've had a puck like gauged at?
No, I think I remember back in the USHL, I made the All-Star game, and there's a skills competition.
Yep, I've seen
that's
that.
when I was how old was I? Like 19, 20 range. And they clocked our slap shots, and I think I got it to like 95 or 96.
Okay.
So no, I never got triple digits like that.
Okay.
That's
still humming though.
Yeah. I mean, if you're standing there with no equipment and I could, try picking you off from the far blue, I think I could make it hurt.
That sounds painful because I just think about baseball players, they don't wear anything and they take 95, 98 mile an hour fastballs to the bat, to the shoulder, to the leg,
the wrist,
and they say the puck is frozen. So that's crazy. So last one before we get out of here. When you look at the Minnesota Wild and then state of hockey, because it's Minnesota state of hockey, so you got the Minnesota Wild. We joked about, hey, they haven't won in so long, so but I'm not going to do that.
You didn't like that state of hockey.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna have that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna turn it back to Nick Saban. So Nick Saban earlier yesterday had an attitude with the recruitment of some Texas A&M players, and he said the NIL is they killed us with recruiting. They got the number one recruiting class, and he said it was all because of NIL, not because of Jimbo Fisher, not because of the program. Do you see that now being where hockey high school kids are going to start to get big money once people realize, like, wait a minute, like I can get one of the next best Sidney Crosbys before he's Sidney Crosby? Do you see the Gophers and some of these college teams, North Dakota State or not, North Dakota, and then what's the
Wisconsin.
The red and black one, though, the one that's big in Minnesota,
St. Cloud State,
Minnesota State, man. Yeah. Do you see them getting into that NIL battle soon with some of these hockey kids across the country? And then, of course, the local kids in Minnesota.
I mean, I definitely see it happening. It might take a few years. I think, all these big football programs are doing it right now. And obviously they have crazy money behind it. And they have all these big sponsors, and and you're in Texas. It's like, I mean, you can call the state of hockey, but it doesn't hold a candle to what Texas is for the state of football.
Correct.
So it's like, I feel like it's eventually going to happen, but the money won't be what football is. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I think that whole NIL and recruiting and I was listening to you before, throwing guys on commercials and, trying to get car deals like that will be influential for high school kids. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, there's a kid from Texas. The running back just got a Lamborghini deal with a local Lamborghini dealer in Texas. So he's going to be driving a Lamborghini this class every week.
Yeah, unbelievable. Can you imagine the girls he's pulling in that thing?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, do you think like Kaprizov, for instance, do you think if the University of Minnesota had approached Kaprizov and said, hey, come play for the Gophers for one season, we'll get you a Lamborghini deal, we'll get you a house deal with Lennar Holmes. Like, do you think that would have been enough to get him over? I know he was a tough get anyway, but do you think that would have been an easier get than trying to clear the KHL and all that stuff just to get him to play 1 year for a Lamborghini?
For sure. I mean, especially with those guys that already, are making money overseas, like the Europeans and the Russians. But, it's different for kids that, haven't made a dollar. I mean, I think I had, even all the way through college, all the way through 24, I think I had like $2,000 in my bank account the whole time. Like I lived off like, Domino's pizza and, Taco Bell. So it's like, if a college threw something at me to entice me to go there, I mean, it would definitely be something that your eyes are going to be, eyes and ears are going to open up a little bit more.
Well, I want to thank Nate Prosser for joining me on the Ron Johnson Show. And up next, we got the Daily 3. That's 3 questions in 3 minutes. Stay tuned. Well, up next is the Daily 3. That's 3 questions in 3 minutes apiece. Take it away, Sam.
Tiger Woods struggles. To my chagrin, I watched every shot. I was rooting for him. He started hot, -2 through 5 holes, but then he limps literally to the finish and ends his day +4. Is Tiger Woods trying to push through too much pain, Ron, to be an effective golfer?
Yes. The fact that he said his leg hurts, there's a thing. He's getting paid to play. We pay to play. So it's a difference. When you get paid to play, just like any other sport, it's always are you injured or are you hurt? Are you injured? If you're injured, you got to go off the field. If you're hurt, you got to push through the pain. And that's just how we were taught as kids. But when you're paying to play, it's a little bit different. It's like, wait a minute, I don't feel good. I'm not going to pay to sit around and walk or drive in a cart for this many holes. And every time I try to swing, it hurts my back or my leg. Like I've literally canceled rounds because my back was just tight. And I'm like, people, oh man, just rub some icy hot on it, man. I think, you'll be, no, I'm not doing it for what? so I could lose to you and then you could talk crap to me for the rest of the day. No, I went to Mexico. And the thing, I took my clubs all the way to Mexico. And I just got a shot in my back. And I had a cortisone shot in my back. I have a herniated disc from playing football. It's something I have to live with. And it's now disintegrated, so it's bone on bone. So I got a cortisone shot like 2 years ago before I went to Mexico. And the doctor said, hey, it's going to take 7 days before you feel better. And so like the first 4 days down there, it was just miserable. Like I was just at the beach. And so my father-in-law and his friends are like, hey, you going golfing today? I'm like, I got up, tried to swing. Nope, I'm not going. Like, I'm not going to try to push through this. I know what it is. It's a cyst on my back, on my spine, and the disc is herniated and it's pushing on the nerve. So no, I'm not going. Next, 2 days later, yeah, you going to golf for a sec? Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm going to sit at the beach with my wife. And so I pay in Mexico to play. So I'm not going to push through the pain. I did eventually golf once down there. Like I said, after the 7th day, literally, it was like the doctor knows what he's doing. I mean, he has a degree in this thing and he was dead on. Like day 7, I woke up and it was like twinkle toes. I was like, oh, went out there and played. I was just fine. And that's where Tiger Woods is at, man. It's like at some point, I get it. The money is huge just for him showing up. Like the purse he gets from his sponsors just for showing up, like Nike and all these other companies that pay to be on his back, to pay to say, hey, we represent Tiger Woods, or Tiger Woods represents our brand, like Built Bar. If you think about Built Bar, like if Built Bar is like, hey, Ron, go out there and go lift weights. We're going to take care of you. Okay. I'm going to represent Built Bar. I want to make sure that Built Bar feels like, you know what? Hey, this guy's really playing for us. Like he cares about our brand. And I do. But for Tiger, no, you got to rest up, man. Like you're rich. Don't do any further damage when maybe if you take a year off, you can come back and be stronger than ever. But again, it's exciting to see Tiger out there. I'm pretty sure the TV producers, everybody's pushing him to come back because, like you said, you watched every shot. There's not a lot of golfers people wake up to watch every shot, and he's one of them.
Yeah, it's a kind of a bummer to watch him struggle the way he is and to clearly be in pain after one round. He's got potentially 3 more of these if he makes the cut. I think it's going to be a struggle for him to get to the weekend. I think he's probably a couple shots behind the cut line right now. He's going to need an under par round. And if he can't drive, I mean, he was struggling just to get around on his driver. I don't know if he makes the weekend, and that's going to be sadness for CBS and all the sponsors who wanted him on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. I've got a Vikings question of the day for you, Ron, and it revolves around the fullback. What is CJ Ham's role going to be in this new offense? Is he still going to play as much as he did last year, or do you think they start phasing out the fullback?
So when you look at the 49ers, and there's the thing, we talked about Juszczyk. We talked about George Kittle and their combo platter of fullback, tight end, H-back. We've seen CJ Ham line up and play receiver a little bit. We've seen him run some routes. We've seen him catch some screens. I think there's a place for him because, in college, he was a true running back. He put weight on and he became this bruiser at fullback. He's not a true fullback when you think about stature of like a Juszczyk and some of these guys that, Mike Allstott, guys that we consider true big fullbacks. CJ Ham is more of an undersized fullback or really, not really big because he's not huge. Just a bigger running back. The thing about CJ Ham is he's a huge piece of special teams. So you can't overlook the special teams piece on any NFL team. You look at Slater he was with the Patriots. I don't know if he's still there, but Slater, that's all he does, special teams. Like that's it. He's literally just a special teams demon. So when CJ Ham can give you all 4 phases, plus, field goal if you need him to play wing and all this other stuff, like that's the stuff where you're like, okay, this is one of the 53. Like he's going to be here. Now usage, that's on offense. That's the key. Is like, as much as they talk about throwing, now using Dalvin Cook as a receiver, spreading teams out, going 5 wide, allowing Kirk Cousins to make checks. I heard a sneaky comment by Kevin O'Connell. He said, Kellen Mond did a great job checking off on some plays and seeing some things in camp. So that leads me to believe that's just a part of the offense now. If Kellen Mond's doing it, Kirk Cousins is going to do it. And so now Kirk Cousins is going to have to learn. So when you think about spreading guys out, you don't think about fullback. Now if there's a way to spread guys out with the fullback in, you bring them back in because now you have, some kind of nickel defense that you can run against, and you just want to line up and play smash mouth. But don't forget too, though, like we haven't seen short yardage. Is Kevin O'Connell's short yardage gonna be a fullback, running back, tight end, 2 tight ends, 1 receiver, or is he just gonna say, hey, 3rd and 1, we're throwing it? That's gonna be up to, like, I can't really say where CJ Ham's gonna be until we see some true all team mini camp stuff, some OTA stuff, and then some true training camp. Like training camp is going to give us a better idea of where CJ Ham fits.
Yeah, I'm torn because I love CJ Ham. He's like the best guy. He's from Duluth, where I was born, and then he went to
Mm-hmm.
college in Sioux Falls, which is basically where I grew up as well
Mm-hmm.
after I moved from Duluth. So I feel like sort of this kinship with CJ Ham, and yet they used him so much last year, but I didn't always feel like he was best suited like to line up in the slot and run a
Mm-hmm.
route. I mean, there are other players I'd rather have do that, or to line up kind of on the end of the line and act like a tight end. I don't know if he's big enough for that. So I love CJ Ham, and I think he's a great blocker and he's great on special teams. I just don't know if he's versatile as they tried to make him out to be last year. So I think we might see a little pullback in his usage, but I certainly think there's a place for him on this roster.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. NBA, I know you've wanted to talk about it. You're rooting for Warriors Heat in the final. That's your prediction. Well, the Heat dropped one to the Celtics last night. The Celtics blow them out to even the series. Warriors are trying to take a 2-0 lead tonight. Ron, what are your thoughts on the state of the conference finals in the NBA?
I still like the Warriors. We'll see tonight, though. I think the Mavs Warriors play tonight, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I'm looking forward to getting to the bar, watching Luka with an old fashioned. I love Luka. Like I think I want it to be a 7-game series for both. Like I don't want it to be a 4-0 or 4-1. Like that's not fun. I want it to be, at least 6 or 7 for both because I have no dog in the fight for either of these. It's just fun to watch good basketball. There's the one thing I watched last night when I was kind of watching, like I said, having 2 TVs, which I told my wife, I'm like, I might have to set up my basement with 3 TVs because after seeing that last night, I loved that. Because I haven't been to a bar in so long. Like I just like it's been ages since I just went to a bar to watch sports. Like I'm old. I'm at home. My kids and my wife, we got sports. But this is what I noticed: the Celtics Jedi mind tricked the Heat. Why? Because all week we kept hearing Marcus Smart was not going to play. Al Horford was not going to play. All these guys were out. This guy's out for COVID. This guy's out with injury. With COVID, we know that there's no injury there. It's just he's on protocol, so he has to get some negative tests before he comes back. But with Smart is injury. So it's like he probably won't play if you're saying he's potentially out. So I think the Heat hearing 2 of their players are out. I just feel like, that South Beach, they kind of relaxed a little bit and came in, Jimmy Butler was, feeling himself, and they didn't come in like the Heat didn't look like the attacker. They looked like the team that was out there running for them lives, and they were a gazelle, and they just let lions loose at the zoo. Or in the wild. And so when you watch that game, what you saw, Marcus Smart played. He got 24 points, I think. I think he had he was like 1 rebound or something away from a triple double. I think he was like 24, 9, and 14 or something, or 24, 9, and 12, like almost had a triple double. So, and then they get Al Horford back most likely because I'm guessing he's going to clear protocols because they'll have that 3-day or 4-day gap. Mm-hmm. They Jedi mind tricked them. Like I get the whole, like you have to report injuries and all that stuff because of betting and all the people that want to lay money down. I guarantee when everybody heard those 2 were out, people put heavy money on the Heat. Like they were like, oh man, this is an easy one. Like the Heat are going to cover. Vegas just got paid. Like the house always finds a way to win. And so that's my thought on that. Or somebody got really rich when they said, I'm still betting on the Celtics because I know Marcus Smart's playing because he told me. He texted me and told me he's going to play, even though everybody's saying he's out. So insider trading on the betting market. So somebody got rich off the Celtics because nobody gave him a chance with 2 guys out. But Jason Tatum still was Jason Tatum. Brown was still Brown, and Marcus Smart did what he does, which is he's a pest. He's always around the ball, and he never stops. Like he's like the Green Goblin with that hair. And that's the state for me. That's what I see. I see, like, I think the Warriors are going to get it. Like the Mavs, we'll see tonight with Luka. But the Heat Celtics is not over. I think that one's going to be a rubber. They're going to go back and forth. It's going to be a juggernaut of a match. I still think the Heat can get it. I think mentally now they're like, whoa, okay, these guys really can punch. It's like when you're a boxer and you go in the ring and you've never been hit. You just hit people. You don't have to have a plan. My plan is I'm going to beat you up. But then when you actually get hit, you got to have a plan. And now the Heat got hit. They took one to the mouth. And that's why I love when Mike Tyson said that. Everybody's great until they get hit in the mouth. And then you got to have a plan. And his plan was always, I can counter. Well, now the Heat have to figure out, are they going to be Glass Joe, Mike Tyson's punch out, and they're going to get their face beat in? Or are they going to be Mike Tyson, and they're going to find a way to come back and win this thing? And so I still got Heat Warriors. I think they can get to it. I love the Wiggins versus Jimmy Butler Timberwolves kind of connection, because people are going to, find a way to be mad about that. If only Butler and Wiggins could have played together with Karl-Anthony Towns, we'd be in the finals. Hey, maybe, or at least in the Western Conference Finals. Well, that'll do it for the Ron Johnson Show today. I want to thank Sam Ekstrom. Did a great job, bud. I want to thank Nate Prosser for joining me today. And then, of course, if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to the Ron Johnson Show. Just go to YouTube, search Locked On Sports Minnesota, and subscribe. And then you can also take us wherever you are with your podcast. No matter what you use, no matter where you go, you can take a listen. Daily 3 is always good. We always have good guests, and we always have some hot topics. Have a great day.